didn't think that we're going to be out playing that game for 7 hours. I don't think I'm gonna make it.
And on my first flight, a woman gave birth on my flight.
She knocked you down?
She didn't knock me down. Somebody else knocked me down. This was not rigged. Actually, we're gonna pause right here because Michael's coming in. I gotta pee. So yeah, after these messages.
It makes for super good TV, you know?
No, because like, okay, before we get there, we should break down the game though. So like, let's break down the game of what happened so we can like talk about the massacre. Because like, actually, we're gonna pause right here because Michael's coming in. I gotta pee. So yeah, after these messages. For the game was, it was 5 minutes on the clock. We'll come back to that later. But when the music stopped, you had to stop. And when the music started, you could move. So this is important for later. But if the doll turned her head around, it wasn't go time. You had to wait for the music to start. And that's
really?
Yeah. So if the doll was looking at you but she wasn't singing, you couldn't go.
Oh, is that?
That's gonna come back. It's gonna come back to bite some people in the butt later. So that was one of the main rules. And like, you know, they lined us all up, you know, and all like the main characters got to the front. A lot of them got taken out. But did you have a strategy for the game? Because I didn't know you at that time yet. Like my crew, we had a strategy. But what was your strategy going into it?
I don't know. Everyone had all these different strategies, right? And they were all psyching themselves out. They're all the people who like got out, honestly.
Yeah.
I didn't really have a strategy going in. I was just going to, you know, I think the best thing that I can do and the big advantage that I had going into the game is I can adapt to situations really well. So, you know, after the first couple rounds, everyone was kind of doing the same thing.
Yeah.
So it's like all your strategies are thrown out the window. It's like you have to be able to look at your surroundings and then like figure out what the next best move is.
Yeah.
So I think that paid off in the end.
No, definitely. Like, I was with Kiara and Bridget, and I remember we were talking about, and even Haley for a bit too. We were talking about like how, you know, I was like, we should walk sideways a little bit, so at least when we're frozen, you know, we have some kind of balance. Bridget shared with us that we should have our back foot at like 45 degrees, and like, you know, I was saying to keep your hands in your pockets, and that was basically it for strategy-wise, just to like, you know, be stuck in like comfortable positions.
Yep. But
the first two positions, I was up.
I mean,
like, I was messed up.
To be fair, like we didn't know that we're gonna have to pause for that long.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the hardest parts about red light, green light is like people have been in difficult situations and like probably as hard as red light, green light, but a lot of the times they sign themselves up for it, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, think about like military training. Not to say that it's like the same extent, but like kind of also pushing yourself to the limit.
Exactly.
And they signed on the line for that. Like when we signed on the line to play Squid Games, we didn't think that we're going to be out playing that game for 7 hours.
Yeah.
So I think that's what really made it hard, was like at some point you realize like what you got yourself into.
I 1000% agree with that. I think, and that explains how the vitriol you saw in people who got eliminated and they complained about it to the media.
Yeah.
But yeah, like for me, the hardest part was the 20, it wasn't always 20 minutes, but it was longer than it should have been. It was at least 10 minutes every time. But like the 10 to 20 minute intervals in between, I guess, rounds.
Yeah.
Because like, I remember in the very beginning, when all the people who were like gung-ho in the front, I remember thinking, oh mate, like they're gonna have camera time, like like that's kind of cool. And then the camera crew would come out. Yeah. And the camera crew would just be on them. Like
in your face, you know, it's like just mentally what that does to you is like, it's gonna break you down.
Oh, dead ass, like 100%. And like what we started seeing was gradually, if the camera loved you, you would, you know, I would say popped. You'd get eliminated, but just, you know, you would get popped. And it would be the camera crew first that would come and move around, and then they'd go away. And then the little drone would come out, and it would fly around and go away. And then you have the adjudicators adjudicating, and you were just there, like just like. Yeah. It was tough, dude. Like.
I guess what were you thinking about? Do you remember?
For me, I had this game where I'm someone who, like, you know, if an itch, I'll scratch it reflex, like, you know, based on reflex, I'll just reflexively scratch it. So I would have itches all over it, just, you know, and I'd just be like, how long will it take for this itch to go away? Think about 30 seconds. So if I had an itch on my ear, on my nose, I'd be like, I'd focus on the itch and it would go away and then be a new itch.
Focus on the itch, okay.
Yeah, like, and then I was moving my hands in my pockets, and this is terrible, but I was like hoping that someone would, like, you know, need a medic. Or like, not need a medic, but I was hoping that, like, you know, we get a break. And usually the breaks coincided with having to have a medic. And when I say break, I don't mean we could like, dance around and sit down. No, I just mean like we could, relax our stance a bit.
Yeah.
But like, we still couldn't move. So I'd be like, I hope you can relax soon. I hope you can relax soon. I'm just hoping that they'd make us go quicker.
Yeah.
But like, that was my game, I think. What about you?
So I'm surprised that you lasted 10 minutes thinking about that though.
Well, sometimes it's be like just meditation at that point.
Yeah,
like, just zone out.
You just zone out.
Yeah.
Like there's just nothing to think about except for like getting to the end.
Where were you in the game though? Because like, I didn't know you made it on the last one until just now. Like out of all this time knowing each other, I had no idea.
I was like kind of on the right side.
But most of the medics were going to, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was definitely trailing behind. I'm slow at running, but let me think. It's like every time I talk about, not specifically Red Light, Green Light, but I talk about the Squid Game experience, like I like start shaking.
The anxiety kind of comes back to you.
Yeah, I can't describe why, because it's not like, I don't think it's like trauma.
Yeah.
But like there's something in my body that's like constantly doing this, so like I am shaking a little bit right now.
Well, you're in a safe space here. So.
Yeah. Because it's nice to talk about.
Yeah.
Especially with like someone like you who has been through the same thing.
Yeah.
But I remember thinking about
ex-boyfriend.
Yeah.
Which I hate to bring up again. But like, significant other, and thinking about my mom, and she was telling me like, hey, you gotta at least get through the first game,
Well, my wife, the same thing.
Yeah.
That was in my head. It was like,
come on, at least the first one.
Yeah.
So that was definitely on my mind of just like, oh, it would be so embarrassing to not even get through the first one. Not knowing that was probably going to be like one of the hardest games.
Oh, yeah, hands down.
And then also reciting poetry.
So cool. That's so cool.
No. I have like one poem memorized.
Yeah.
And I was just like constantly going through it in my head, because I was like, if I go through it enough times, it's maybe like 5 minutes, 6 minutes in length. And so that definitely helped me just like stay sane and stop thinking about my body, because if I think about like my back leg and how much it's hurting, then I'm gonna move.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like there's a show on Disney Plus with Chris Hemsworth.
Chris Hemsworth? Yeah.
Yes, and he's doing it. I forget it's not called Limitless or something. I can't remember what it's called. But like he's doing things where he's trying to push his body to do different things. He's learning about the human condition. And in one of the episodes, they talked about stress, and I rewatched that the day before we had to turn on devices.
Really?
So like he was talking about box breathing. So I was doing a lot of box breathing.
Oh no! Also,
there.
same. Yeah. The other thing that I was doing, other than reciting poetry, was on the plane there.
Yeah.
They had this. On your plane monitor, there was like a little tip about like anxiety and like flying anxiety, I guess. And they're like, take 5 seconds of breath in and then like 3 out.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's the opposite. 3 in, 5 out. If you do that like 4 times, then your system will adapt to becoming in a more calm state. And I just saw that on the plane, I was like, whatever. But then being there, I just kept on breathing, because I was like, they said that if we are just breathing, they can't get us out for that. So I was just doing that repeatedly.
That's exactly what box breathing is.
Okay.
Yeah, dude, I feel so close to you now. Like more than before, because like we were both in the last heat. We were both box breathing.
Yeah.
Like
it's meditation.
Yeah. Speaking of plane rides, though, I did not want to go back to Dubai.
Yeah, no way.
I came from Japan.
Your plane ride story.
Yeah, like I came from Tokyo to Dubai, and on my first flight, a woman gave birth on my flight. Like it was like a movie.
That's
like
insane.
It was gnarly, and I was my dumbass. I was like, oh, that's a good omen.
It's a good omen. That's what I thought.
I was like, new life, new opportunity for me. This is a positive sign.
That's true.
Yeah.
It would freak me out.
It was gnarly. And like it was like the movies too. They're asking for doctors, and the staff were running up and down, but they were ready for it. I was on Emirates, and Emirates, if you ever have a kid on a plane, fly Emirates. They got you covered. They were professional.
So
like, top
wait,
notch.
was there a doctor on the plane?
Several doctors.
Really?
Several doctors. I think a couple of doulas. I think a couple of nurses.
Okay.
But yeah, they were pretty well staffed by the end of it. And but then I had to lay over in Dubai. I had to fly to London. So it was a whole ordeal just to get there. So I remember thinking.
You had like what was it, like more than 50 hours, right?
I think altogether, I think it's like 36 hours though. Like the whole like
36.
Yeah, like the whole like the whole ordeal of going. But I remember thinking like, I haven't come all the way here just to lose and go back. I don't want to go back on the airplane. Like I just didn't want to go back on the plane. I was like, I'm not going back right now. My wife's voice was in my head. It was like, Sashimi makanai de ne. Sashimi makanai de ne. And I was like, oh, sashimi makanai, sashimi makanai, sashimi makanai.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's definitely a thought.
But like, okay, as you start seeing people get eliminated, what was your thought process like then?
First of all, I didn't know when well, I'll talk about that later, I guess. But I was surprised how many people got eliminated.
Yeah.
Because I knew that people were getting eliminated, but it's hard to keep track of how many, especially when you're in a meditative state. And you don't understand how many rounds have already passed. And there were a lot of rounds.
Yeah.
So I was just glad that it wasn't me when the squibs went off.
Yeah.
And then it was also surprising seeing, like, you know, the people that you thought were going to go far get out. And you're like, oh, man. Like, that guy was such a great dude. Like, I only talked to him for 15 minutes, but yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. Like, you know, like in my area, I think we had player 001, and her squib didn't go off, but she got eliminated. They like called her out on the speaker, and she didn't want to go. They had to come get her to make her leave.
Yeah.
But like, it's just people in front of me just like pop, 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 and like some of them still lied there whilst they were there, and you're just like, damn, dude, like you're out, bro. And like they look at you like, really? I'm out, and you'd be like, don't look at me, I don't want to catch it. Like,
Not related.
Yeah, I don't know who you are. I'm trying to stay in the game. I remember there were two people in front of me. One person just voluntarily just moved and got out. I think it was like in the middle of the game. They were just like, F it. They got popped. Another guy who was doing quite well happened to he couldn't hold it anymore or whatever. Like I think he couldn't hold his position. And he popped, and like he like died all dramatically, and he was like, you know, being cheeky about it, looking around and smiling like, oh, I'm dying. I was like, don't at me, don't distract me.
Don't make eye contact.
Yeah, I don't know you. You're dead to me. But like the whole time I was behind, like at that stage in the game, I was behind like all my friends I'd made. Like I was considerably behind them. Like Haley was up there, Bridget and Kiara were up there, and I was like quite behind. Yeah. And I remember being like, yikes, like yikes, dude. Like, am I gonna make it? Like. I knew I wasn't going to get eliminated, but I didn't know if I was going to have enough time to cross.
That was a huge thing, too. It's like, of course, like, people's scripts are going off, like, you're trying to stand still, but that was a lot of what I was thinking about, because before I went into it, I broke up the number of, like, I have to be halfway by this time, I have to be here by this time. And first I was fine. Halfway through, I started falling behind.
Yeah.
And I think that was just because, like, I was trying to get a comfortable position, and I focused way too much on that rather than getting far. Yeah. And then at a certain point, I'm like, I don't think I'm gonna make it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then even the last couple ones, I was like, I really don't know if I'm gonna make it. Yeah. So that was a big anxiety for sure.
Definitely, like when the first guy made it, when I think Tayo made it, that was cool. But then the second group made it. And I think what I didn't like about the second group was, not on them, but the producers came out and did a bunch of reaction shots of them making it. And so being, like, you know, in the thick of it and seeing them being like,
it
kind of like
pisses you off.
Hurry up! I want to make it too!
Yeah.
Like, did you have a strategy though? Because like what you were saying is how you were trying to find a comfortable position. I was doing the same one. I kept thinking, all right, my next position's going to be this. My next position's going to be this.
That was all I was thinking about, was like, how can I get in a most comfortable position for the next 15 minutes? Yeah. Like, I run cold already. Like, quite cold. Like, my fingers will turn, like, black in the winter just from, like, poor circulation. Yeah. So, like, I had already lost sensation in my feet. And I think I told you this, but like to this day, like it's been 2 months since we played.
Still haven't got sensation back.
I still don't have sensation in my toe. So like it looks fine, but I do think that I have like actual permanent.
Get that Netflix money. Get that Netflix money.
Nerve damage. And yeah, I remember just like going back to the hotel room, and I'm like, I don't feel anything down there, and it's a weird sensation, but like I try to run it under hot water.
Is it a pinky toe?
It's my, like, what's it called? The big toe.
Oh, wow. The big toe.
The big toe.
Oh.
So,
wow.
I was just, like, rubbing my feet whenever I got a chance, or... Yeah.
That is concerning.
So that is, like, the mental game I was playing, was just, like, get comfortable, but also just, like, completely abandoning my limbs.
Yeah.
And that's a very difficult thing to do.
Yeah, but I mean, once you can't feel your limbs, it's easier to kind of ignore them.
That's true.
Like, my feet, luckily I had this sensation back, but I
Yeah.
remember halfway through I was like, I can't feel my feet, so they can't
Yep.
be tired.
Yeah, that's fair.
But now I want to talk a bit about like strategies for like stopping, because like as I said before, you had to stop when the doll was done singing. So
Yeah.
like I was lucky enough, Kiara and I, we kind of knew the lyrics, and then Joe from Korea was Gomen nasai. James
Oh, James, yeah.
was able to teach us like, you know, more of the lyrics. So like, you know, the end of it's like, you know, piet sumida. So we were all stopping on piet. Like that was our thing, because
Yeah.
I didn't want to be in motion and then
Right.
end up in like an uncomfortable position. So we were all stopping on piet. That was our thing, to be like piet sumida. Did you have something similar to that, like a stopping strategy?
I think I did a lot of observing of the people around me, because again, I was kind of in the back of things, and so I saw a lot of people moving till the very last minute, and I
Yeah.
saw that they weren't getting out. So I figured a lot of the producer strategy was more just like, while we were stopped, if anyone was moving, they would get out. So I kind of did push my limit in a sense of like, for example, I think I started moving when the doll started turning, or I didn't stop until like the doll stopped singing, because I was trying to go as far as possible
dude.
towards the end.
Life on the edge right there.
Yeah.
Life on the edge.
I think I just like observed and I said, oh, he's like twitching a little bit, but that's okay. So then I let myself go that much. Yeah.
That's smart though. But oof, let me go ahead and brush
Yeah.
this off. Life on the edge, bro.
Got lucky.
Yeah. So that was basically the gist of it. Now let's talk about like, you know, the infamous, like, was it 38 Second Massacre? However long it was, 20 Second Massacre.
Something like that.
I think 38 people got eliminated. That's what it was. I can't recall. But I'm not gonna lie to you. I was quite happy to see some of them go, because this is like second to last heat, right? And now the whole time they warned us that they might speed up the song or slow the song down, but they hadn't the whole game. Like 6 hours and like 45 minutes, nothing. And then the second to last heat. And I remember at this point, so I was with Elliot, who was, you know, he was running and lying on the ground. I was with him, and there's this other girl behind me who, his name I don't remember, but I remember her and I, we were sat like crisscross applesauce.
Yeah.
Because I kept trying to give my legs breaks. I sat down twice in the whole game to give my legs break. And her and I were talking, like, you know, all right, we could see it, and like, yeah, I was looking at me like, what the So we're like, we can see the line.
Yeah.
You know, when the song comes up, I think it was like, you know, 38 seconds on the clock. So we were like, we got this. We're gonna be good to go. And there were some guys behind me who were being a bit like sassy, like, y'all better run, because like if y'all on the way, we're gonna knock you
Just
down.
shut up, yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, mate, you haven't got to knock us down. Like we can all make it. It's 38 seconds on the clock. There's probably gonna be another round after this.
Right.
Like you haven't got to knock us down.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, y'all just better run. Just, you know, just being.
Really?
Yeah, just, like they were saying it in jest, I guess, but they were, you know, there was truth behind that.
Yeah.
Like they were like, hey, if you get over, we're gonna knock you down.
Yeah.
But they're trying to be like, you know, they're trying to be cheeky about it. And they did. They knocked us down. Like
Really?
the song got sped up though. So like, you know, we get up and girl and I were going, and she didn't know about stopping on Piet. So I heard Piet and I was like, I'm done. Like, you know, just at that point, muscle memory, I Piet and I was like,
She knocked you down?
she didn't knock me down. Somebody else knocked me down.
Oh.
And they knocked her down as well.
Really?
So I heard Piet and I was falling, and then lo and behold, luckily, as luck would have it, I stopped on Sumida. And I was just like, oh! like, I could see the line like in front of me, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Elliot was lying down on the ground next to me. And this poor girl, she was half on the line, half off. Yeah. And the guys who pushed us, obviously they made it. They're on the other side.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say too much about them because you know who you are. And I remember they were like, you know, one guy was trying to like, such a like, he was trying to like cheer us on. He was like, oh, you guys got it, because the clock would still go, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we had 3 seconds left on the clock as it were at that point.
Right.
And he was like, oh, you know, 3 seconds is enough time. You can totally make it. And another guy was like, bro, they can't make it. Or whatever. It's like a snide joke. And he was like, well, I mean, not for us, but for them or whatever.
How far out from the line were you at that point?
I could touch the line if I wanted to.
Okay.
Yeah, I could just be like, doop. I could have touched it. And
Because
so
the second is actually like longer than you would think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this poor girl was just lying there. Like, she wasn't acting like she had made it.
Yeah.
She was lying there. So everyone else was celebrating or whatever. And then, you know, Elliot's like, mate, I don't think I can make it. if you go that way, I can maybe have a chance. But Elliot, we'll both have a chance. Like you and I will both make it. We'll be alright. And yeah, I think they were adjudicating, and they let us chill for a little bit too. And so, which is good for me. I got to like sit on my knees or whatever. I got to relax my position.
Yeah.
But what I think had happened was why so many of them got eliminated. Because like they turned the clock back to 5 seconds, right? And they're like, players, we're gonna start again. And all of a sudden, like all of them got popped.
Yep.
My speculation is that they sped the song up, so a lot of them would cross the line. They were already in motion when the song was done.
Yeah, exactly. They were jumping over the line, and their back foot might have been behind the line. I think that's absolutely it.
So like me getting pushed actually saved my bacon. Like if I hadn't got pushed, well, I mean I stopped on pit team anyways. I stopped. It was not a comfortable position, but I'd stopped. But I felt this is the only time I wanted to kind of like, what's the word? Attest? Not attest. This is the only time I wanted to like, I guess try to campaign for someone else. That's not the word I'm looking for. But I wanted to like, I wanted to campaign for someone else because the girl in front of me who got knocked down, she also got eliminated. I wanted to contest that. I wanted to be like, hey, like, that's not cool, like,
Because that's actually not allowed within the rules, right? We're not allowed to like push people down.
Yeah.
I thought that's what they said.
That's what they said. So I don't know if they got eliminated because they pushed us or because they crossed while the song was done. But the girl in front of me who was half on the line, half off, I don't know if you remember me, but I remember you. And bro, I hate to see you out like that. That sucked for me. Like I really want you to make it. So if you're watching this, I don't leave a comment or something. But like I was gutted when you got out. Like that was not cool. Like because you were lying there and you weren't celebrating. You were staying still. You had every right to pretend to be like you had made. You had every right to pretend that you had made it. But it just she was out too, and I was like, fuck.
I feel like gutted is a good word to describe like the feeling of just like you're frozen, but then you see the person that you really had a good time talking to like go home, and they were just talking about like how excited they are to be here, and you're just like you really feel for them.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't even talk about the girl who like had a seizure.
No, because she was on your side, right?
Yeah, she was right next to me, and
oh wow.
She was like right here, and that is definitely like a core memory when I think back to red light, green light, because it was like 3 rounds in that people started fainting, and I remember being frozen, and what happened? She was standing next to me. She went down. I just heard her hit her head on the floor. And I saw her like twitching, and then I didn't know what was happening. I was like, is she good? And then the girl next to her said, oh, she's having a seizure. And then they called the medics and everything. But I just remember like wanting to help because obviously like what the
yeah.
But also not being able to move.
Yeah.
And like that was a moment where I had to kind of choose like, am I going to help this person or am I going to choose to stay in the game myself?
Yeah.
And obviously I felt like an asshole.
Yeah.
But like that is a moment that I keep coming back to, I think.
I'm sorry I had to go through that.
I mean,
yeah,
I just like it sounds like she was all right, so I think it's okay, but like just not being able to like even look and just like trying to look out of the corner of your eyes is a memorable event for sure.
If you had the seizure, please let us know if you're okay in the comments.
Yeah.
But no, but I think like at the same time though, like the fact that you wanted to help still speaks volumes about who you are. But at the same time, like we kind of got stripped down to like our primal human instincts.
Yeah.
So like it's fight or flight.
Yeah.
And at that point, like it was just all adrenaline. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so it's like I'm sorry, I gotta stay in. Like like, I can't. Like I hope you get help, but like I can't. Like and that might be selfish or whatever. But it comes back from like I reckon like Homo sapiens hunting, gathering, whatever. Just that like that biological thing to like steer the course.
And I think we're probably going to see that a lot more in the later games.
Oh, for sure.
Like, there are definitely people that, at least we've heard, who are really great people that we met, and then, like, they're more, I think a darker side of them came out towards the end that, like, even they might have not have known about.
Yeah.
So, it'll be interesting to see that.
I can't see that. Yeah. And then, so, now, when you crossed the line, how did you feel when you crossed? 'Cause I gave Kiara, like, a massive, big hug. And that was it. I don't think, I gave other people hugs, but my focus was, like, crossing the line. And, obviously at that point, Kiara was, like the only friend I really had. So it was crossing the line to be with my friend. And yeah, that was like, yay, I did it.
I think even going back to the 38 Second Massacre though, like I had a lot of people who were standing right next to me, who were telling me that I should just go for it.
Nani?
Did I tell you this?
No.
Yeah.
They're trying to get you out?
Not get out, but they're like, we're gonna cross the line, you should come with us in that group. And so they were telling me, they're like, hey, if you just book it, then you could totally make it on this round. And so I really thought about like going and just like jumping over that line.
Yeah.
The song started, I noticed right away that it was like really fast.
Yeah.
So I stopped immediately, like even though I was a couple steps away from that line.
Yeah.
And they just like went and they were all cheering, you know. And then they were like, Hannah, come on, like you can make it definitely on the next round. And they saw that I stopped. They're like, why didn't you cross the line? You know, like you're so close, man. But then I saw like all of their scopes go off and they just looked at me and looked at each other and they just like walked off.
Ah, dude. At least they didn't contest it though, because like you knew at that point, like they had to know, like, oh, I kind of gamed the system a bit.
Yeah, I was surprised though.
Yeah, dude. The adjudicators were serious. Like,
oh yeah.
Like I think I read one of the articles that people were saying it was rigged or something, and I will say right now, if Netflix or Studio Lambert was trying to rig the game, they did a terrible job.
Yeah.
They did a terrible job because all like the main character people who would have been great TV didn't make it. Like I know there were some influencers in the crowd who like self-eliminated. Like if they were trying to rig it, they did a terrible job.
I agree.
And then like even the second game after Red Light Green Light, we lost a lot of the quote unquote main characters. So this was not rigged. I'll tell you that right now. Like because I wasn't supposed to make it if it was rigged. Like dead ass.
That's
like
true.
Yeah.
All the people who made it towards the end were like later interviewed because
they didn't like us.
No, they didn't have any more people to like base it off of because they all got out.
Yeah. So, but that wraps up the video for us. I guess about anything else you want to say about Red Light Green Light?
Do I want to drive people's news?
I don't know about that. That might be a special, Patreon video, whatever,
fair.
But I will say though, speaking of Patreon, shout outs to Robert Kelly. I forgot your player number, but I got my patch the other day. Did you get yours yet? Hit him up on WhatsApp. I didn't order. He just gave it for free.
Oh really?
Yeah, I mean, maybe I'm not supposed to say that, but like, yeah. I tried to PayPal him $5. It didn't work, and he just sent it to me anyways.
Aww.
So yeah, I'll put you in touch with him on WhatsApp. And I think, this might seem kind of, insensitive to people who didn't survive it, but I think there's definitely, a camaraderie with everyone who passed Red Light, Green Light, just because it was so, trauma bonding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's going to sound so stupid because they're going to air it like it's 5 minutes, you know?
Yeah.
But they really are covering their asses.
Yeah, but as they should. I would, too, if I was in that position.
Yeah.
But it was tough.
It's a business.
It was tough, bro. Okay, last question, though. After Red Light, Green Light, and whilst I was doing it, I was thinking of people from my life who I knew could have passed it and who maybe couldn't have passed it.
Oh,
I have some people I'm like my cousin Sarah, I was like, cousin Sarah would have passed this. My other friend, I'm like, oh, you would have passed this. Some people I'm like, probably wouldn't have made it. Did you think about that? Or if you think about that now, can you envision people from your life who you think would have made it and who wouldn't have made it?
I mean, I think the only person that I can... My boyfriend... I think my initial thought was, oh, he definitely could have made it.
Yeah.
Because he is so self-disciplined.
Yeah.
But I think he also would have gotten caught up in the mentality of I have to be at the front of the line.
Ah, yeah.
And I have to be first or something like that. So I think that might have backfired maybe.
Yeah.
Or overthinking the strategy can also f you over.
Yeah.
So I think just being able to stay calm in that state is important. I don't know.
Well, if you think you could have made Red Light, Green Light, if you could have passed it, please let us know in the comments. If you think you would have failed, let us know why. Let us know in the comments. Anyways, if you like this video, we have more Squid Game videos on the way, I'm sure. Probably have others on the channel.
So many.
We just can't stop talking about trauma. So, alright, thank you for watching.
It's therapy, really.
And see you in the next video.
Bye.
Alright.